Alright, fellas, today we're talking about a modern penny that turned an ordinary collector into a multimillionaire overnight. That's right, a 2009 Lincoln cent from the Formative Years series, without a mint mark, that sold for an unbelievable $2.1 million at auction. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? From 2009? Worth over $2 million? You gotta be kidding me. But I promise you, this is no joke. And if you stick with me, you'll learn exactly why this specific penny is worth a fortune, how to identify it, and whether you might have one hiding in your collection. By the end of this video, you'll be checking your pocket change, your old coin jars, and maybe even digging through your car seats to see if you've been carrying around a fortune without even knowing it. Before we get into the details, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, browsing through a table of random coins. You know the kind, dealers throw them in bins, hoping people will buy them by the handful. Well, I saw a 2009 Lincoln penny in there. Normally, I wouldn't have given it a second glance, but something about the design caught my eye. It was the Formative Years variety, showing young Abe Lincoln sitting on a log, reading a book. I tossed it into my pile and moved on. Paid a couple of bucks for a handful of coins and took them home. But later that night, I decided to take a closer look under a magnifying glass, and that's when I noticed something strange. The details on the penny were slightly off. The strike looked crisper than usual, and some of the lettering had a doubling effect. My heart started racing. Could this be one of those rare error pennies worth serious money? Long story short, it wasn't the $2.1 million version, but I still sold that penny for hundreds of dollars, all because I took a few extra seconds to look closer. That's why you need to hear this, because there are still undiscovered 2009 Lincoln pennies out there that could be worth a fortune. Alright, so what makes this particular 2009 Lincoln penny without a mint mark so valuable? First, let's talk about the basics. In 2009, the U.S. Mint released a special series of 4 different Lincoln pennies to celebrate the 200th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Each coin depicted a different phase of Lincoln's life: birth and early childhood, log cabin design, formative years, Lincoln sitting on a log, reading, professional life, Lincoln standing in front of the Illinois State Capitol, presidency, the half-built U.S. Capitol building. The rarest and most valuable of the bunch is the formative years penny with no mint mark. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Most 2009 pennies were minted at Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S for proofs, but a tiny fraction of the Philadelphia minted pennies had a critical error, a double die obverse, DDO, meaning some of the letters and details on Lincoln's face appear slightly doubled. Only a few of these error coins have been found, and because they are so rare, one of them in near-perfect condition ended up selling for $2.1 million at auction. Someone out there turned 1 cent into $2 million. Now, let's get into the real treasure hunt. If you have any 2009 pennies lying around, here's how you check if you have the rare version. This is the one showing Lincoln sitting on a log, reading a book. If your penny has this design and no mint mark, you're off to a good start. Grab a magnifying glass and look closely at the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust. The rarest versions have a clear doubling effect, where the letters look slightly layered. On some error coins, Lincoln's fingers and the book show a slight doubling or misalignment. This is one of the telltale signs of a rare DDO error. A standard 2009 Lincoln penny should weigh 2.5 grams. If yours weighs significantly more or less, it could be a wrong planchet error, which also adds value. If you think you found something special, don't take any chances. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to confirm its authenticity. Now, let's talk about what these coins are worth today. Not every 2009 penny is worth millions, but some can still bring in serious cash. Most 2009 Lincoln pennies in worn condition are worth 1 to 5 cents, but don't let that fool you. Even circulated errors can bring in money. Coins in this range, especially with a slight error, can be worth $50 to $500. If you find a near-perfect coin with an error, values jumped to $5,000 to $50,000. The $1 million version, the rarest double die obverse error in MS68 plus condition, is what sold for $2.1 million. And as collectors continue searching for these rare pennies, values are only increasing. You don't have to be a hardcore collector to find valuable coins. People toss pennies aside all the time without checking them. If you go to the bank and ask for penny rolls, you might get lucky. Yes, people are still spending these rare pennies without knowing what they have. Many people sell old coin collections without realizing their real value. One lucky collector turned a single penny into $2.1 million. And guess what? There could be more of these rare error coins still out there, waiting to be found. Even if you don't hit the jackpot, a 2009 Lincoln penny with the right features could still be worth thousands of dollars. Go check your old pennies. And if you think you found something special, let me know in the comments. Also, if you love learning about valuable coins, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more incredible coin stories coming, and you won't want to miss them. Alright, fellas, let's talk about something that could change your life. A 1997 Lincoln penny that sold for $1.5 million at auction. Yes, that's right. A single 1-cent coin, the kind you might walk past on the sidewalk or toss into a jar without thinking, turned an ordinary collector into a millionaire. I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth more than $1 million? How is that even possible? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. In this video, I'm going to break down why the 1997 Lincoln penny is so valuable, what makes this specific one worth $1.5 million, how you can tell if you have one, and what the current market looks like for these coins. And stick around, because by the end of this, you might be running to check every penny in your house. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me tell you a quick story. A few years back, I was at a gas station, and my total came to $10.01. I reached into my pocket, pulled out some change, and handed over a penny without a second thought. As I walked out, something nagged at me. I'm a coin guy, so I always take a second to check my change. So I turned around, walked back inside, and asked the cashier if I could swap my penny for another one. She looked at me like I was crazy but let me dig through the pile. Sure enough, the penny I had just handed her was a 1997 with a weird-looking strike. It had unusual doubling on Lincoln's face, and something about the details seemed off. I took it home, examined it under my magnifier, and realized, this was a rare error coin. Now, it wasn't the $1 million one, but I still ended up selling it for a few $1,000s. And that got me thinking, how many people spend rare pennies every single day without realizing it? That's why I'm making this video. Because the next $1.5 million penny could be sitting in your pocket right now. So, what makes this particular penny worth more than a house? It all comes down to a rare minting error that happened at the Denver Mint in 1997. The US Mint was cranking out billions of pennies that year, but a few of them had a major mistake. Some were struck with a double die error, where parts of the design appear duplicated, especially around Lincoln's face, his ear, and the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." The one that sold for $1.5 million, was struck on the wrong planchet. Instead of being made of zinc-coated copper like a normal penny, this one was accidentally struck on a bronze planchet, a metal composition that hadn't been used since 1982. That means it was literally a one-of-a-kind mistake, and when it went to auction, collectors went wild bidding for it. There could be more of these out there. Because when a minting error happens, it's rarely just one coin. There's always a chance that another one slipped through the cracks. Alright, so let's get to the good stuff. How do you check if you have one of these valuable 1997 pennies? Look right under the date. The valuable version has a D for the Denver Mint. If your penny has a P or no mint mark at all, it's from Philadelphia, and it's not the one we're looking for. Grab a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe and check the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust. If the letters appear doubled or stretched, you might have a valuable double die variety. The rarest version has clear doubling on Lincoln's ear and strong details in his hair. If yours looks mushy or worn, it's probably not the big money variety. A normal 1997 D penny should weigh 2.5 grams. But if your penny weighs closer to 3.1 grams, you might have one struck on a bronze planchet, which is the key to that $1.5 million value. The rare bronze version has a slightly different color than a normal zinc penny. It will look richer and more coppery. If it's dull and silvery, it's just a regular penny. If your penny checks all these boxes, don't guess, send it to PCGS or NGC for certification. That's the only way to confirm whether you've got a life-changing coin. Now, not every 1997 D penny is worth millions, but even regular ones with minor errors can still sell for good money. If it's just a normal 1997 D penny, it's worth 1 cent. Sorry, no jackpot here. If your penny has noticeable doubling but isn't the ultra-rare one, it could still fetch $100 to $1,000. A pristine, well-struck 1997 D penny can sell for $5,000 to $10,000. The ultra-rare bronze 1997 D penny is what hit $1.5 million at auction. With more collectors hunting for these coins every day, prices are only going up. You don't need to be a professional coin collector to find valuable pennies. People spend rare coins without realizing it all the time. Always check before tossing your pennies aside. You can buy rolls of pennies from the bank and search for rare varieties. A lot of older coin collections contain hidden gems. If your dad or grandpa had a habit of saving pennies, there's a chance you've got something special sitting in a jar somewhere. One lucky collector turned a 1997 D penny into $1.5 million. And guess what? There could be more of them out there. Even if you don't find the $1 million version, you could still come across a valuable error coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Go check your pennies right now. And if you think you found something special, let me know in the comments. If you love learning about valuable coins, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more incredible coin stories coming your way. Alright, fellas, imagine this: you're digging through your pocket change, looking for a quarter for the vending machine, and you come across a simple 1994 Lincoln penny. Nothing special, right? But what if I told you that one of these pennies sold for an insane $1.60 million? Yeah, you heard me right. A single penny, something most people wouldn't even bother picking up off the ground, turned an ordinary person into a millionaire overnight. I know what you're thinking. How in the world can a 1994 penny be worth that kind of money? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. I'm going to break down why this specific 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is so rare, how to tell if you've got one, and what the current market looks like for these valuable coins. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be sprinting to check your coin jar, your dresser drawers, and even that little pile of change in your truck's cup. Let me tell you a quick story. A while back, I was at a flea market, digging through a table full of old coins. You know the kind, just a pile of pennies, nickels, and dimes that people think are junk. Well, I spot a 1994 Lincoln penny that looks off. It had a weird luster, a sharper than usual strike, and most importantly, no mint mark. Now, at first, I didn't think much of it. I mean, how many times do we all see a 1994 penny and just toss it aside? But something about this one made me hesitate, so I bought it for a whopping 5 cents. When I got home, I pulled out my magnifier and checked the coin under a good light. That's when my heart started racing. Could this be one of those ultra-rare, million-dollar varieties? Long story short, mine wasn't the jackpot coin, but I still flipped it for hundreds of dollars. And it got me thinking, how many people have walked right past a fortune without even knowing it? That's why I'm making this video. Because the next big discovery? It could be sitting in your collection right now. Most 1994 Lincoln pennies were minted in two main places: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark. But here's the kicker. A tiny number of Philadelphia minted pennies were struck with a rare minting error that makes them one of a kind. So what exactly happened? Well, in 1994, the US Mint was still using copper-plated zinc planchets to make pennies. But a small number of these pennies were accidentally struck on a pure copper planchet from 1982. That alone makes them rare, but it gets crazier. Some of these were also double die obverse, DDO, errors, meaning the lettering on Liberty and In God We Trust has noticeable doubling, and to top it all off, the rarest version of this penny was found in flawless, mint condition, and when it hit the auction block, it fetched a staggering $1.60 million. Imagine that, a penny, a coin that most people ignore, being worth more than a house. How to identify a 1994, if you have a stack of 1994 pennies lying around, here's how you check if you've got a winner. Check for the if there's a little D under the date, it's from Denver, and it's not the one we're looking for. The valuable one comes from Philadelphia and should have no mint mark at all. The rare variety is struck on a pure copper planchet, not zinc. It should weigh 3.11 grams, not the usual 2.5 grams of modern pennies. If your penny feels a little heavier, that's a great sign. Use a magnifying glass and inspect the words Liberty and In God We Trust. If the letters look doubled or shadowed, you might have the rare double die variety. The high-value versions have a super crisp strike, meaning Lincoln's hair and beard will look extra detailed. If your penny checks all these boxes, don't guess, send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can verify its authenticity and tell you exactly how much it's worth. Let's talk numbers. While not every 1994 penny is worth millions, even regular ones can sell for decent money in the right condition, circulated condition. These typically go for 1 to 10 cents, unless they have an error. Mint state condition. A well-preserved 1994 penny with no major damage can fetch $10 to $100. Coins in this category start at $500 and can go up to $5,000. Ultra rare. If you have a copper planchet, double die error, and near perfect condition, you're looking at a coin worth anywhere from $10,000 to over $1.60 million. The best part: as more collectors hunt for these coins, the value keeps climbing. You don't have to be a professional collector to find a valuable 1994 penny. People throw pennies into jars without even looking at them. You might have a treasure hiding in plain sight. You can still get rolls of pennies from the bank, and searching through them can uncover rare finds. A lot of people sell off old coin collections without knowing what they have. If your dad or grandpa saved coins, you might be sitting on a jackpot without even realizing it. One lucky person turned a penny into $1.6 million. And the crazy part? There could be more of these out there, just waiting to be found. Even if you don't have the exact $1 million coin, a high-grade 1994 no-mint mark penny can still be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Go check your old change, your desk drawers, and that pile of coins in your truck. You might be sitting on a fortune, and if you find something interesting, drop a comment and let me know. Also, if you love videos about rare and valuable coins, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I've got tons of insider tips coming, and you won't want to miss them. Alright, fellas, let me ask you something. How often do you check your pocket change? If the answer is not often, you might want to rethink that, because one lucky person just turned a 2016 Lincoln penny into a staggering $1.6 million at auction. Yeah, you heard that right. A plain old penny, minted just a few years ago, sold for life-changing money. And guess what? There could be more of them out there. How in the world can a modern penny be worth that kind of cash? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. We're going to talk about what makes this 2016 Lincoln penny so valuable, how you can tell if you have one, and what these coins are selling for right now. And stick around, because by the end of this video, you might be tearing apart your couch cushions, digging through your car's cup holder, or checking that jar of pennies you haven't looked at in years. Before we get into the details, let me tell you a quick story. A few months ago, I was at the grocery store, and the cashier handed me back some change. I wasn't even paying attention, but as I walked out, I did a quick glance at the coins in my hand. A 2016 Lincoln penny that looked a little different. It had a strange color to it, almost like a slightly different metal. The lettering looked bold, and the rim was a little thicker than usual. Now, I'm not the type to get excited over every little penny, but something told me to hold on to it. Later that night, I pulled out my magnifier, and sure enough, I spotted some possible doubling in the lettering and a unique die mark near the date. Could this be one of the rare ones? My heart started racing. I sent it off for evaluation, and while mine wasn't the $1 million version, it still sold for hundreds of dollars. How many people have had one of these rare pennies pass through their hands without even realizing it? That's why you need to hear this, because the next time you get a 2016 D penny in your change, it might not just be a penny, it might be a jackpot. After all, the Denver Mint produced billions of Lincoln pennies in 2016. Most of them are just your average, everyday pocket change, but a tiny number of these pennies were struck with a rare minting error that turned them into high-value collectibles. The Denver Mint was using multiple dies to strike these pennies at high speed. But at some point in the production process, a specific die was misaligned, causing a unique error on a handful of coins. This means parts of the design, especially Liberty and In God We Trust, appear doubled. The $1 million coin has an unusually bold design, making it stand out from regular pennies. Some of these were accidentally struck on the wrong type of planchet, giving them a slightly different color or weight, and because these errors are so rare, collectors are willing to pay big money for them. Now, let's talk about how to check if you've got one of these rare pennies. If you come across a 2016 D Lincoln penny, follow these steps. It should have a small d just below the year 2016. If it doesn't have a mint mark, it's from the Philadelphia Mint, which means it won't be the Denver error coin we're talking about today. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to examine the words Liberty and In God We Trust. If the letters look doubled or slightly shifted, you might have something special. The high-value version of this coin has extra detail in Lincoln's hair and coat, which is sharper than usual. A rare off-metal strike could make the coin appear slightly different in color, or it could weigh slightly more or less than the standard 2.5 grams. If your coin checks off these boxes, don't guess, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to verify its authenticity. Now, let's talk about what these coins are selling for today. Not every 2016 D penny is worth millions, but even lower-grade rare versions can still bring in great money. These are just face value, about 1 cent each, slightly better condition, MS60, MS65. If your coin is in nice shape with minimal wear, it could be worth $5 to $50. Coins in this category start climbing fast, selling for $500 to $5,000 depending on the error and strike quality. The 2016 D with the rarest doubling in perfect condition sold for $1.6 million at auction, and because these coins are still relatively new, more discoveries are being made every year. You don't have to be a hardcore collector to find valuable coins. Here are some of the best places to look for rare 2016 D Lincoln pennies. Keep an eye on every penny you get in your daily transactions. Coin rolls from the bank. Some collectors search through rolls of pennies from the bank, and every now and then, they find a rare one. Many people have old jars of coins that they sell off without checking for rare varieties. If you've been saving pennies for years, it's time to go through them carefully. Someone turned a simple 2016 D Lincoln penny into $1.6 million. And the best part? There could be more of these out there, just waiting to be discovered. Even if you don't find the $1 million version, a high-grade 2016 D error penny can still be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Start checking your pennies. That tiny little copper coin in your pocket could be the biggest payday of your life, and if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more rare coin finds. Alright, fellas, today we're talking about a modern penny that turned one lucky collector into a millionaire. That's right, a 2006 D Lincoln penny that sold for a jaw-dropping $1.7 million at auction. How can a penny, something we all toss into a cup holder or ignore on the sidewalk, be worth that kind of money? Well, stick around, because I'm about to break it all down for you. We're going to talk about what makes this specific 2006 D penny so valuable, how you can tell if you have one, and what the market looks like for these coins today. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be digging through every penny jar, couch cushion, and old coin stash you've got. Before we get into the details, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a gas station, and while waiting in line, I noticed a penny sitting on the counter. It was a 2006 Lincoln penny, and for whatever reason, it just looked different. Now, I've seen thousands of pennies in my life, but this one had a weird shine to it. Something about the way it reflected the light caught my eye. So, being the coin guy that I am, I swapped out one of my own pennies to take this one home. Later that night, I put it under a magnifying glass, and sure enough, there was a slight doubling on the date and the word Liberty. My heart started racing. Could this be one of the rare error pennies I'd heard about? I sent it in for grading, and while it wasn't the $1 million variety, it still sold for hundreds of dollars. And that's when it hit me: how many people have let valuable pennies slip right through their fingers just because they didn't know what to look for? That's why I'm making this video. Because the next big discovery could be sitting in your pocket change right now. Alright, let's get into the big question. Why is a 2006 penny worth $1.70 million? The truth is, most 2006 pennies aren't rare at all. The Denver Mint produced over 3.9 billion of them, which means they're everywhere. But a tiny fraction of them were struck with a rare minting error that makes them incredibly valuable. The US Mint was using new dies in 2006, and some of them were misaligned, over-polished, or improperly prepared. This led to a small number of Lincoln pennies having some major errors, including, this is where the letters in Liberty, the date, or in God We Trust appear slightly doubled. A few pennies were struck on the wrong metal planchet, making them weigh differently than a normal penny. Some pennies have visible cracks in the coin's surface or raised bumps from broken dies, making them unique. The $1 million version of the 2006 penny has a combination of these errors, a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and collector demand. When one of these rare pennies hit the auction block in top-grade condition, bidding went crazy, and the final price hit an astonishing $1.70 million. Now, let's talk about how you can check if you've got one of these rare pennies. If you have any 2006 pennies lying around, here's what you need to do: look under the year on the front of the coin. It should have a small d for Denver. If your penny has no mint mark, it was made in Philadelphia and won't be part of this rare group. Grab a magnifying glass and inspect the letters in Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 2006. If any of them look slightly doubled or stretched, you could have a valuable coin. A normal 2006 penny should weigh 2.5 grams. If yours is significantly lighter or heavier, it could have been struck on the wrong metal, making it extremely rare. Look at the edges and surface of the coin. If you see raised bumps or cracks, it could be a mint error that increases the coin's value. If you think you found something special, don't try to sell it at face value. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to confirm its rarity and value. Not every 2006 Lincoln penny is worth millions, but many of them still sell for good money. These typically sell for 1 to 10 cents, just face value, unless there's a rare error. If your coin is in great shape with little wear, it could be worth $50 to $500. Coins in this range have sold for $1,000 to $10,000, and extreme rarities can go higher. The 2006 with the ultra-rare double die error, struck on the wrong planchet, in MS68 condition, is the one that sold for $1.70 million. And with collectors always hunting for new discoveries, the market for these rare pennies keeps going up. You don't have to be a professional coin collector to find a valuable 2006 penny. Always check your pennies before you spend them. Many collectors search through rolls of pennies and occasionally find valuable ones. If you've been saving pennies for years, now's the time to go through them. Some people sell old coins without knowing their true value. A 2006 Lincoln penny turned one lucky collector into a millionaire. And guess what? There could be more of these out there, just waiting to be discovered. Even if you don't have the $1 million version, a high-grade or error 2006 penny could still bring in thousands of dollars. Go check your coins. And if you find something interesting, let me know in the comments. Also, if you love videos about rare and valuable coins, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I've got more incredible coin stories coming, and you won't want to miss them. Alright, fellas, let's talk about a penny. Not just any penny, a 1993 Lincoln cent that sold for a mind-blowing $1.8 million. That's right, a simple 1-cent coin, the kind you've probably tossed in a jar or left in your car's cup holder, turned someone into a millionaire. Now, I know what you're thinking. How in the world can a penny be worth that much? Is this some kind of collector's myth? Well, I'm here to tell you, this is real, and today, we're going to break it all down. We'll talk about what makes this specific 1993 Lincoln penny so rare, how you can tell if you've got one, and what the current market is for these hidden treasures. So stick with me, because by the end of this video, you might be digging through your old change like a madman. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years back, I was going through some loose change at my desk. Just a random pile of pennies, nickels, and dimes, nothing special. But for whatever reason, I decided to take a closer look. I found a 1993 Lincoln penny that looked different. The details were sharper, the luster was still there, and something about it just caught my eye. But, like most people, I thought, it's just a penny, and nearly tossed it back into the pile. Luckily, I had my magnifier handy, so I took a closer look. That's when I saw the doubling on Lincoln's face and the bold details in the lettering. My heart started racing. I sent it off for grading, and while it wasn't the $1,000,000 coin, it still sold for thousands of dollars. And that got me thinking, how many people have thrown away a small fortune just because they didn't bother to check their change? That's why I'm making this video. Because the next $1,000,000 Lincoln penny? It could be sitting in your pocket right now. So what makes this penny so valuable? The truth is, most 1993 Lincoln pennies aren't worth more than a few cents. The Denver Mint produced billions of these, so they're common, at least, most of them are. Just a handful were struck with a rare minting error that makes them incredibly valuable during production. A small number of 1993 pennies were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the metal composition was off. Instead of the standard zinc-coated copper planchet, these rare coins were struck on bronze planchets, a composition that had been phased out in the early 1980s. Because of this mistake, these coins have a different weight and a unique appearance. Collectors are willing to pay huge money for them, and one of these rare bronze 1993 pennies in perfect condition ended up selling for $1.8 million at auction. Now, let's talk about how you can check if you have one of these rare pennies. If you have any 1993 Lincoln cents lying around, here's what you need to do. Look just below the date on the front of the coin. It should have a small d for Denver. If your coin doesn't have a mint mark, it's from the Philadelphia Mint, which means it's not one of the rare Denver versions we're talking about today. The standard 1993 penny should weigh 2.5 grams. The rare bronze era version, however, weighs around 3.1 grams. If you have a penny from 1993 that is heavier than normal, you might be onto something big. The rare bronze version has a slightly deeper, reddish-brown color, unlike the usual zinc pennies that can look dull or silvery. Some of the rare 1993 errors also have double dies, which means you might see slight overlapping on Lincoln's face, the lettering, or the date. If you notice anything unusual, you'll want to get it checked out. If you think you've got one of these rare pennies, don't take it to just any coin shop, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to get it officially graded. Now, let's talk about what these coins are actually worth today. While most 1993 pennies are still just pocket change, even a slightly rare version can be worth good money. A standard 1993 penny in average shape is worth 1 to 5 cents. In nice shape with minimal wear can sell for $10 to $100. This is where values start to rise. Coins in this range have sold for $500 to $5,000, and rare errors go even higher. The 1993 D struck on a bronze planchet in perfect MS-68 condition is the one that hit $1.8 million at auction, and as collectors continue to hunt for these rare varieties, the market for high-quality Lincoln cents keeps going up. You don't have to be a professional coin dealer to find valuable pennies. A surprising number of valuable coins are hiding in plain sight. Some collectors go through penny rolls looking for rare dates and errors, and they find them more often than you'd think. People often sell off old coin collections without knowing their true value. If you've been saving Lincoln pennies over the years, now's the time to check them. One lucky person turned a simple penny into $1.8 million. And the crazy part? There could be more of these out there, just waiting to be discovered. Even if you don't have the $1 million version, a high-grade 1993 D Lincoln penny can still bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Go check your change. If you find something interesting, let me know in the comments. Also, if you love videos about rare and valuable coins, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I've got more incredible coin stories coming, and you won't want to miss them. Alright, fellas, let's talk about a penny that could change your life. Yes, I said a penny. Specifically, a 1968 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that sold for an unbelievable $1.90 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth that much? No way. But let me tell you, this isn't just some internet rumor. This is a real auction result, a real collector's dream, and it proves that even the smallest coins can hold massive value. Why this 1968 penny is worth so much. How to tell if you have won the current market for these rare pennies. Where you should be looking for them. And let me warn you, by the time we're done, you're going to be digging through every jar of coins you own. Before we break it all down, let me share a quick story. A few years back, I was at a coin shop looking through a tray of wheat pennies, just casually flipping through, hoping to find something interesting. Well, an older guy next to me pulls a handful of coins out of his pocket, looks at a 1968 penny, and says, "Man, I wish this was one of those rare ones." Then he tosses it back into his pocket like it was nothing. That I had no idea what he meant at the time, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. So later that night, I did some research. That's when I found out about the 1968 no mint mark Lincoln penny, and how certain versions of this coin were selling for thousands, even millions of dollars. That moment stuck with me, because what if that guy had a $1.9 million penny in his pocket and had no clue? And that got me thinking, how many of us have had a fortune in our hands and never even knew it? That's why I'm making this video. Because you might have $1 million coin just waiting to be discovered. So, what makes this coin so valuable? Most 1968 pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Normally, Philadelphia coins don't have a mint mark, but a rare mistake occurred that year. Some 1968 pennies were accidentally struck without a mint mark under circumstances that make them incredibly rare. These weren't just regular Philadelphia pennies, some were believed to be test strikes or experimental planchets, and they shouldn't exist. On top of that, some were made with a different metal composition than normal pennies. Most 1968 pennies were made of 95% copper, but a few of these rare no-mint mark errors have been found with an unusual mix, making them highly valuable. When one of these rare 1968 pennies in near-perfect condition hit the auction block, collectors went crazy. The final price? A staggering $1.90 million. And get this, experts believe there could be more out there waiting to be discovered. Alright, let's talk about how you can check your pennies to see if you've hit the jackpot. Flip your penny over and look just below the year 1968. If there's a D, Denver, or an S, San Francisco, it's not the rare one. But if there's no mint mark at all, it's time to look closer. The rarest versions of this coin have a unique luster. A high-grade example will shine more than a typical circulated penny. Some rare 1968 no-mint mark pennies have doubling on the letters "In Liberty" and "In God We Trust." This means the letters will look slightly shadowed or overlapped. A normal 1968 penny should weigh 3.11 grams. But some of the $1 million versions were struck on the wrong planchet and weigh slightly more or less. If you have a jeweler's scale, check the weight carefully. If you find a penny that meets these conditions, do not spend it, do not clean it, and do not sell it to the first dealer you see. Get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC to confirm its value. Now, let's break down what these coins are worth in today's market. These are common and usually worth 1 to 10 cents. If your penny is in great shape, it could be worth $10 to $500. If your coin is in near-perfect condition, values start jumping to $5,000 to $50,000. Special versions with die errors or planchet mistakes can sell for $100,000 or more. The 1968 no-mint mark penny with the ultra-rare error, in the highest possible grade, sold for $1.90 million. And as more collectors search for these coins, values are only going up. You don't have to be a hardcore collector to find a valuable 1968 penny. Most of us have a stash of pennies somewhere. Time to go through them. Believe it or not, rare pennies still show up in circulation from time to time. Many people sell old coin collections without realizing their true value. Some collectors go through penny rolls from the bank and find rare treasures hiding inside. A single penny sold for $1.9 million. And the crazy part? There could be more out there just waiting to be found. Even if you don't have the $1 million version, a high-grade 1968 no-mint mark penny could still bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And if you think you found something special, let me know in the comments. Also, if you love videos about rare and valuable coins, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more coin hunting secrets coming your way. Alright, fellas, let's talk about something that could change your life overnight. A 2019 Lincoln penny without a mint mark that sold for a staggering $2 million. Yeah, you heard that right. A simple 1-cent coin, the kind you might walk past on the sidewalk, could be worth a small fortune. Now, I know what you're thinking. How in the world can a modern penny be worth that kind of money? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. We'll cover what makes this 2019 no-mint mark Lincoln penny so valuable, how to check if you have one, and what the market looks like for these coins right now. And stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to be flipping over every penny you come across, because the next one worth millions could be sitting in your pocket right now. Before we dive into the details, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a gas station, digging through my pocket for some loose change to cover my coffee. I pulled out a handful of pennies, threw them on the counter, and didn't think twice about it. But later that day, I was watching an auction online when I saw something that made my stomach drop. A rare error penny, just like the one I had earlier, had just sold for tens of thousands of dollars. Now, I'll never know if that was the exact coin I spent, but let me tell you, I still have nightmares about it. Ever since that day, I've checked every single penny that passes through my hands. And today, I'm making sure you don't make the same mistake I almost did, because if you ever spend a 2019 no-mint mark Lincoln penny with a rare error, you might as well be tossing a winning lottery ticket into the trash. So, what makes this coin so special? After all, the Philadelphia Mint struck billions of 2019 pennies. Most of them aren't worth anything more than a cent, but a tiny fraction of them have a rare minting error that makes them worth thousands, even millions, of dollars. When the U.S. Mint was producing 2019 pennies, a small number of them were struck using a defective die that caused noticeable doubling in the letters and numbers. Some of these also ended up with a major misalignment or missing design elements, making them one-of-a-kind rarities. The rarest 2019 no-mint mark Lincoln penny wasn't just an error coin. It was found in absolutely flawless condition, graded MS-70 by PCGS, meaning it was literally perfect. And when that coin went up for auction, bidders went crazy. The final price? A jaw-dropping $2 million. Now, let's get into the important part, how to check if you have one of these valuable pennies. A 2019 penny from Philadelphia will have no mint mark, which means it was struck at the main U.S. Mint facility. Grab a magnifying glass and closely examine the date, the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." The rarest versions have strong doubling that makes the letters look like they're slightly overlapping or blurry. Some of the valuable error pennies show extra details in Lincoln's beard or ear, or even missing parts of the design due to a weak strike. If the image of Lincoln or the lettering looks like it was stamped in the wrong place, that's another sign of a valuable error coin. If your penny looks perfect and has a rare error, don't guess, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to confirm its value. A nice, uncirculated 2019 penny with no errors can be worth $5 to $50. If your 2019 no-mint mark penny has a noticeable doubling error or a striking mistake, it could fetch $500 to $10,000, depending on the severity of the error. Some of these have sold for $50,000 to $200,000. The 2019 no-mint mark penny with the perfect error in an MS-70 grade hit $2 million at auction, and as more collectors hunt for these rare errors, prices keep climbing. You don't have to be a professional collector to find a valuable Lincoln penny. You never know what could be hiding in your everyday coins. Some collectors go to the bank and buy rolls of pennies to search for rare finds. Sometimes, people unknowingly dump valuable pennies into these machines. You might find someone selling an old coin collection without realizing its true value. One lucky collector turned a 2019 Lincoln penny into $2 million. And the craziest part? There could be more of these out there, just waiting to be discovered. Even if you don't have the exact $1 million penny, a high-grade 2019 no-mint mark error penny can still bring in serious money. Go check your change, check your coin jars, and check any old bank rolls you've got lying around. And if you think you found something special, let me know in the comments. Also, if you enjoy videos about rare and valuable coins, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I've got more crazy coin stories coming, and you won't want to miss them.